That is why today we are here to discuss new and stricter measures, including limiting residential gatherings to your household only, with exceptions for essential services, limiting retail operations with new capacity limits, and ensuring that only essential items are purchased in person, and providing clarity on what is deemed to be an essential item. I'll now pass it over to Dr. Roussin to provide his daily COVID update and to expand further on these new measures. Brent, over to you.
Thank you. Today we're announcing updated public health orders that will come into effect November 20. The orders will further limit social contacts and the operation of non-essential businesses. Last week we introduced the strictest public health orders we have had throughout this pandemic. We've pleaded with Manitobans to stay home, to protect themselves, protect their loved ones, protect the community. We advised strongly to only go to the store for absolute essentials. We pleaded with people to think about our healthcare providers that are at risk and how hospital capacity is becoming stretched. Despite that, we saw people gathering at rallies. We saw crowded parking lots at big box stores. We saw people continue to go out for non-essential items. So we're left with no choice but to announce further measures to protect Manitobans, to limit the spread of this virus. The new orders will state no one is permitted into a private residence or property other than those who live there, with a few exceptions for essential reasons such as childcare, health care, and emergencies. This includes your home, cottage, or other vacation property. If someone lives alone, they can have one other person into their residence and they may visit that person's home as well. Gatherings of more than 5 people at any indoor and outdoor public place continue to be prohibited, of course with the exception of a healthcare facility, school, or critical businesses that are following the orders. Because the orders are strict, there's not really many indoor places where people can gather anymore. But it does allow instances such as weddings, funerals, other gatherings such as baptisms to take place, but that capacity limit is 5. These new orders allow retail businesses to open only if they sell essential items, and they need to ensure compliance with capacity limits and implement physical distancing measures. Retailers can only sell essential items and must remove or limit access to or mark all non-essential items so they cannot be purchased. Yeah, and so what we really want to do is to ensure that it's clear to consumers what items are essential and what are not. And so at 12:01 tomorrow, non-essential items will no longer be able to be sold in any of these retail outlets. It will be Saturday, 12:01, that they would have to comply with the separating the non-essential goods. So we wanted to ensure that we had an appropriate time for businesses to be able to implement things like moving around their stores or roping off areas or proper signage. But yeah, it's come tomorrow. Somebody walking up to a till with a non-essential item is not going to be able to purchase that. And then come Saturday, it should be very clear to patrons what items are available for purchase and what items are not.
I think it's important to note too that to Manitobans, again, not to try gaming the system here, we're giving a little bit of time for the vast number of retailers that have done their very best to comply with the rules all the way along to do so. It's going to be a challenge for them to physically adjust their store space and shopping space so that the non-essential items are not a temptation to people coming in. But in the meantime, tomorrow, I just ask all Manitobans, don't go in and buy a head of lettuce and so you can get a color TV. That's not the deal. Don't do that. That'll be against the rules as of tomorrow. And for heaven's sakes, don't blame the teller when they don't ring it through, because they're not going to be able to ring it through anyway. So be respectful, don't game the system. The idea here is to put the right to life ahead of the right to shop. And we got to remember to do that because this is a real thing. We're talking about real people being impacted, and it's important that you do your part to help save lives now.